Okay, this is solving equations tutorial number 4. We're going to be looking at proportions like this problem. And when we have a proportion, we're going to cross multiply and divide just like we did in middle school. So I always like to start with the x, and I'm going to cross multiply. X times 2 is 2x. I bring down my equal, and I cross multiply on the other side. 4 times 5 is 20, and now I'm left with a one-step equation. Divide both sides by 2, and I get that x is equal to 10. So we want to remember when dealing with proportions that cross multiplying is the way to go. So I want you right now to pause this video, go get a marker board, and we're going to be doing one problem on your notes, and then you practice on the marker board. So go ahead and pause now, and then come back. Okay, so on your marker board, go ahead and pause this again and write this down. And when you are done, hit play and check your answer against my answer and correct if you need to. Okay, pause. And here we go. Cross multiplying, dividing, we get b is 2. All right. We're still cross multiplying because we have a proportion, but what's different about this problem is that x has company, and I'm going to put parentheses around my x plus 6 to remind me that when I'm cross multiplying, I'm going to multiply that 2 by both the x and the 6. So I'm going to distribute that 2 to both the x and the 6, and then 4 times 5 is 20. So I'm going to distribute 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 6 is 12, and now I have a two-step equation. We're going to subtract 12 from both sides, and then divide both sides by 2 to get x is equal to 4. So cross multiplying, we're going to make sure when x has company that we're going to put parentheses around that to remind ourselves that we do need to distribute the 2 to both the x and the 6. All right, let's go ahead and switch over to the marker boards. I want you to pause this, write it down, do it, and then hit play and check your answer. All right, so here's the answer to this. Double check your work against my work, and if you made any mistakes, try to learn from them. All right, back to notes. I notice two things. One, x has company here. And so what do I mean by company? What does that mean? When x is being added to something or subtracted, something's being subtracted from x, we want to put the parentheses. Here with the 2x, it's really easy to see when I cross multiply, right? 15 times 2x, well, that's 30x. I didn't need any reminders, that's why I didn't put any parentheses around there. But here, when there's two terms, x and another term, we do need that reminder that we're going to need to distribute that 5 to both terms. Otherwise, we forget. We're just human. We're going through things pretty quickly. Let's go ahead and subtract the 5x from both sides. Could you have done it the opposite way, by the way? Could you have 5x minus 35 on one side and 30x on the other? Absolutely. 30x minus 5x is 25x. Bring down the equal, that's gone. And then it looks like we're going to get something that's not going to be able to be fully simplified to an integer, but that's okay. If you were like this on the test, I would give you credit, but if you were taking a standardized test or multiple choice test, you would probably see the answer in simplified form. That would be what, -7/5, or you might even see it in decimal form. That would be negative, let me pick up my calculator, -1 point something. Let's see, we do 7 divided by 5, so that is 1.4. All right, so any of those answers I would take on the test, but the simplified ones would be the ones that you would see if you were taking a standardized test. All right, so let's go to marker boards. That means you want to pause this, you want to write it down, and then when you work it through on your marker board, go ahead and hit play and check your answers. All right. Hopefully you got -1 as well. All right, here we go. Now x has company, x plus 2 and x minus 1. So we're going to do both of those in parentheses to remind ourselves that we have to distribute. So hopefully this is coming back to you. I know that this You did a lot of work with proportions in middle school, so hopefully it is coming back. And we're down to a two-step, right? We're going to go ahead and add 8 to those sides. So we get 6x is equal to 12, and we'll divide both sides by 6, and we'll get x equals 2. So proportions are pretty straightforward. Let's practice one of these on your marker board so you know what to do. Hit pause and come back. All right, so hopefully you got x equals 4 on this one. If not, please learn from your mistakes or pause your video and ask me or Mr. Maginer how to do this. All right, so that's it for proportions. You're going to get plenty of practice with other things for proportions, but we're going to move on to some different types of context problems. So here we've got a triangle, and the triangle shown has a perimeter of 48 and solve for x. We need to remind ourselves that perimeter means adding up all the sides, right? Area would be length times width, or in the case of a triangle, 1/2 base times height. But perimeter means we're going to take all of these sides and we're going to add them up. So I'm going to write them down. X plus 3x plus 4x minus 8. So all three sides added together is equal to the perimeter, and the perimeter is 48. So we'll put a 48 on the other side. We're going to gather like terms. Remember our DC-GAM, right? Distribute, combine like terms. Let's see, DC-GAM. Get the x on the same side, and then the two-step was left. All right, so here we go. We've got an x plus 3x plus 4x, and so that's 8x minus 8, and now we're down to a two-step. So we're going to add 8 to both sides, and we get 8x equals, what, 56? And when we divide both sides by 8, we get x equals 7, and that's what they asked us to do. They asked us to solve for x, so x is 7. Here's another type of context problem. What I'm going to ask you to do right now is cross through, see how it says each jumbo cup of lemonade sells for $2.50? I'm going to ask you to cross through that. Let's just make it an even $2, just so that you can learn something I want you to learn. The $2.50 actually wasn't going to work out here. All right, so here we've got Leland. He's selling lemonade to pay for a new skateboard, and each jumbo cup of lemonade sells for $2. He paid, and I'm just going to check on the time real quick. So he paid $45 for all the supplies. And how many jumbo cups does he need to sell to make a profit of $200? So there's a lot going on. He wants to make money, and he wants to make a certain amount of money. So how many ways can he make money? When we look at the problem, there's only one way he's going to make money, right? He's going to sell lemonade. So he's on one side of the equal sign, we're going to write how he's going to make, so how to make dollars, and on the other side, how many dollars does he have to make? So here we go. How to make dollars? Well, he's going to sell lemonade, so that's $2 for every cup. Do we know how many cups he's going to sell? Nope. And what do we use when we don't know? We use a variable, and we always use x, so we'll use x. So how much does he have to make? Well, it's easy to see that he has to make $200, right, for sure. And then we're looking at this second number, the $45, and we're like, wait a minute, did he make that $45? Because it either has to go on the how to make, so he's going to either make the $45 or how much money he has to make altogether. So the $45 actually goes on this side. The only way he's going to make money is by selling lemonade. If it said while he was selling lemonade, somebody came up to him and gave him 45 bucks, well, then the 45 would go on the left side. So now we have the way he's going to make money is 2x, and how much money he has to make is 245. So if we go ahead and pick up our calculators and divide both sides by 2, we're going to get 122.5, which means he has to sell 122 cups of lemon, or 122 and a half cups of lemonade. Now, if you're running your lemonade stand, you really stop and say to somebody, you know what, I'm not going to sell you the whole thing. I'm just going to sell you half because that's all the money I need to make. No. So instead of 122.5, how many cups of lemonade does Leland actually have to make? Well, if you said that Leland has to make 123, man, that was not a good 3. So if you said that Leland needs to make 120 or sell 123 cups, then you're right. If you said 122, then Leland would be a little short of the money that he needed. So we're going to be on the lookout with these context problems. When we solve for X, we're like, wait a minute, what does X really stand for? And X stood for the number of cups that Leland was going to sell. You can't sell a half cup. I mean, technically you can just cut it in half and sell it to that person, but we're going to round up in this case. All right, Leland has finally made $200. He heads to the store to get a skateboard and discovers that it's on sale for 150 bucks. Yay. He decides to buy as many pairs of gloves as he can with the rest of his money. The gloves are $4 a pair. How many gloves can he buy? All right, so we've got money that he has, and let's see, what do we say on the other side? So let's see, he's got money he has in his pocket. How about that? So we kind of can visualize. He's walking to the mall or the store, and he has $200 in his pocket, or whatever, wherever he carries his money. And then on this side, the money spent. So let's see, we know for sure that he's going to spend 150 bucks on this skateboard, right? And because he has some extra money left over, he's going to buy as many gloves as he can. And the gloves are $4 a pair, and they're sold as a pair, obviously. So we know that the gloves cost $4 a pair, but we don't know how many pairs he's going to buy. And when we don't know, we use X. So on the right side, money he has in his pocket. On the left side, the money he's going to spend. I know they're very similar. If you can think of different words to say that differentiate that, but the whole point of what I'm trying to get across to you is the equal sign should separate two different ideas. In this case, money he has to spend and money he's actually going to walk in and spend to buy things. All right, so let's go ahead and quit talking about the equation. Let's solve it. Let's subtract 150 from both sides. So we get 4x equals $50. We'll divide both sides by 4. So x is equal to 12.5. This means that when Leland gets to the checkout, he says to the person, I can afford 12.5 gloves. And he takes the one pair of gloves and rips it in half and says, there we go. No, of course he's not going to do that. So how much money does he really have? How many gloves can he really buy with the money he has? That's right. He can only buy 12 gloves, 12 pairs of gloves. That makes sense, right? He's going to have some money left over, but he can't afford 13 pairs, can he? Nope. So he's going to stick with 12 pairs. All right, I think that's it, and that is. Thanks for joining me, and make sure you do plenty of practice. Practice really does help you to become proficient. All right, thanks for joining me.